Welcome to Kingdom Hearts Phase 2. We finally made it here. We finished Phase 1, we finished Kingdom Hearts 3, and now we're in for You're Not Prepared.
Yeah, I was counting on that.
But we're here.
Well, I had a party last night, so I had some alcohol. I had a mental health walk thingy this afternoon. I just had big ass meal, so I'm all cleansed. I'm all zen, ready to be fucked in the mind through my ear again. Let's go.
I'm going to undo that mental health walk of yours in the next take, or leave it 2.5 hours.
Yeah, I was afraid of that.
I kind of made a bit of a fuck up in the last video, and that is I entirely forgot about the secret ending of Kingdom Hearts 3. So we're not actually in Phase 2 yet, we're still technically in the secret ending of Kingdom Hearts 3, because I do need to cover this before we go into whatever we do next.
So we had 2 episodes totaling about like 5 hours, and we're still not fucking done?
Well, this is only like a 2-minute scene, which, knowing us, we're probably going to talk about this for 10 minutes, because that's kind of what we do.
Yeah.
But again, this is relevant. I debated whether or not to put it in here, or put it in the episode where we're going to talk about the Kingdom Hearts 3 DLC, because it feels like it fits a little bit better there, but some themes and like theory fodder relies on knowing this, while talking about specifically the second part of the game that we're going to be covering today. Today's only the first part.
Alright.
So, we open on a shot of like very cinematic, a nice blue teal light on the left reflected, and then a nice warm light. It's very cinematic. I fucking hate it.
Very J.J. Abrams, yes.
Yeah, and if you look at this picture, it is a pool of water on a very high definition road, and that's important.
Okay.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Well, not a pool of water,
yeah.
the very high definition of the road is relevant.
No, I kind of see it now, yeah.
Yeah, you'll see some more in a second. This is a first-person view of what Sora sees as he wakes up in a unfamiliar city. Remember, Sora like fucking died at the end of Kingdom Hearts 3. But he wakes up here. So is this heaven? Who knows? We also see Riku waking up in this same similar looking, very realistic looking city.
Wait, I kind of recognize this.
Do you?
Is this the world from that other game trailer thingy?
It kind of is, yeah. But I'm about to blow your mind a lot more than just, oh wait, that's that thing from the start of Kingdom Hearts 3 which we just like ignored for the rest of the game. That would be mind-blowing enough. I'm going to blow your mind a little bit more in a second. As both of them walk around, they look around the city, and this is not just some weird fantasy city that they're in. This is Tokyo.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
What the hell?
Not even like slightly like based on Tokyo, like what you have in San Francisco in like Big Hero 6, which is like, oh, it's a little San Francisco, a little inspired. No, this is just one-to-one. You've probably seen images of this very location.
Oh yeah.
This is Shibuya, a metropolitan area inside Tokyo. One thing that I should mention though is the building in the background there, which has 104. The real Tokyo has the same building there, but it says 103, I believe, on the real version.
So we're in a parallel universe?
Yeah. There is also another Square Enix game that takes place entirely in Tokyo, where it has a version of that building that says 104. So that might imply things. I don't know. Or it might just be that whenever Tokyo shows up in a Square Enix game, they change that number as like a reference. Kind of like the, what is it? The classroom number that...
yeah.
Like 30 something. It might be something like that, or it might be lore relevant. I don't know. I'm just going to point it out here. So both of them are in Tokyo. Sora's in Shibuya. And then we've got Riku. I don't know what this location is called, but from what I understand is Riku here is looking up at the government building in Tokyo.
Well, would be fun if he was like looking up the offices of Square Enix.
Oh, you say that.
No.
You say that.
No, God.
But somebody seemingly is sitting up on that building over there. Yuzora is here, the character from that trailer. So seemingly this is the city from that trailer, because Yuzora is here, but the city from that trailer is Tokyo. For reasons.
In stuff. Alrighty then.
Yuzora's not the only person of interest that is here, because on another rooftop, at some place in the city, we see a guy in a black robe looking up at the moon, making a heart shape with his fingers over the moon.
It's a Kingdom Hearts teaser, so we gotta have, first of all, some random motherfucker in a leather coat looking ominous.
I mean, we know who this is, right?
Do we?
I mean, take a guess. Who do we know in a robe that could be fucking around with Sora and seemingly trying to fuck around with a moon to make it into a heart-shaped moon? How many people in black robes do we know that are still alive? Because we just murdered like almost all of them.
Yeah, that's a fair point. There was someone who had plans to turn the moon into, and I'm lost.
As of right now, the only two people that we really know that wear black robes, like everything to do with Xehanort had black robes. We'll get into how that's related actually in not this game, never mind. But we also had Lucio, which was revealed to be Xigbar all along, and the Master of Masters. We know where Lucio is, not in Tokyo, so that kind of only leaves one person.
Alright then.
To which I should point out, you said it would be funny if they were looking over the Square Enix headquarters office, right? People have like geolocated where this scene takes place, like which roof the Master is standing on, because again, this is not just vaguely inspired by Tokyo. This is one-to-one. You can Google Maps this very location.
Probably just aerial footage with him put in there, or is it actually rendered stuff?
It's all rendered in like a hyper-realistic art style, but it is actually all like in-engine. Like this is just a 3D render.
Right.
This location is like 2 blocks away from where Square Enix actually is located in Tokyo.
Come on, then. At that point, just put him on the roof of the Square Enix office. Come on.
You would say that? I don't remember all the details here, so don't take anything that I'm about to say as absolute truth, but I do believe even the location, or like the orientation of where he's looking toward, is toward the Square Enix office. Which probably is just like a little bit of a reference and not like any meta commentary, but at this point I don't fucking know. Because we had Virum Rex, which was an in-universe video game developed by Square Enix. I don't know if I pointed it out at the time, but like it's got a Square Enix logo on it in that trailer. And now we're inside Tokyo, which I will tell you right now, it's got like an in-universe name. It's not just called Tokyo, but it's very much Tokyo. And I just need you to remember all of this, because the implication here might be that Sora, after he's died, is no longer allowed to exist in the Kingdom Hearts universe. That much like we can put together from what we know right now.
Mm-hmm.
This could just be like a parallel universe. The implication seems to be that Sora has left the Kingdom Hearts universe and is now in our universe, potentially.
Or at least some universe similar to.
And this is where things get a little bit meta, because obviously Sora isn't actually walking around. Like, if you go to Tokyo now, you take a plane, Sora's not there. Hopefully. So yeah, but that's kind of where, like, lack of information at this point, that's speculation, what that actually all means. But that is the current running interpretation of what's going on here, is that specifically with information that we'll get to in the last video that we're going to do in like this whole series.
Mm-hmm.
The whole theme of Phase 2, as we start with Phase 2 today, seems to be centered around where Phase 1 has a very large focus on like balance and light and darkness, and I'm sure light and darkness will still be around, don't get me wrong. Phase 2 seems to be more so predicated on the question of what is reality.
Is this just fantasy?
Yeah.
Caught in a land. Okay. No, I won't bore you with that.
And with that seemingly being the direction that we're going, To me, it does seem like the implication is specifically that Sora is now no longer in his reality, but in our reality. But again,
Or at least something akin to.
yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. A lot of that is also speculation, so they might go in a totally different direction. I just want you to point out that it seems like wherever they are, whether it's our reality or like a parallel reality to ours or something else entirely, this place does not seem to have Kingdom Hearts because the moon is just round.
Boring.
So this shot seemingly implies that the Master of Masters is going to insert a Kingdom Hearts into this world. So, now we've done all that, officially done with Phase 1. Mind is already melted. Let's get started with Phase 2 and Kingdom Hearts Key. We talked about Back Cover, which was the movie that explained all about like the foretellers, Lushu, the Master of Masters. And at the time I told you that that game was the like background information, the perspective from those characters on the events of a mobile game.
Yeah.
And then I told you, actually, it's not a mobile game. It was a web-based browser game, which then got re-released as a mobile game later.
Because we still got to hit all the platforms.
Yeah. And the web-based version also was Japan exclusive. And when this actually became law relevant, they figured maybe we should like release this to the rest of the world and just make it a smartphone game. Which was filled to the brim with loot boxes and microtransactions, because of course it was.
If you're gonna make a mobile game, might as
Yeah.
well.
I'm sure that this game made much more money than Kingdom Hearts 3.
Oh yeah.
Without a doubt.
Oh fucking doubt.
So today we're going to talk about the portion that was the original web game called Kingdom Hearts Key, after which it was rebranded when it was released on mobile game to Kingdom Hearts Unchained Key, and later Kingdom Hearts Union Cross, and then Union Cross Dark Road, technically.
Is that brackets cross just so people say Union Cross instead of Union X?
Yes.
That's dumb as fuck.
Yeah, no, because otherwise this would read Kingdom Hearts Union Key Cross.
Kingdom Hearts Union 10?
No, don't even start. Don't start with that. Anyway, is there anything else about this image that strikes you as at all strange?
There's some fabulous people.
Let's take a look at those fabulous people.
And one cuddly teddy bear, of which I'd forgotten what their name was.
That's a charity. We're going to be talking a lot about charities. We only vaguely mentioned in the back cover.
Yeah.
They show up a lot more here because we're actually going to experience everything from like the Keyblade wielder's perspective, and every Keyblade wielder has one of these motherfuckers as like a friend.
A Dobby-like motherfucker.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, we've got someone in the black robe, obviously.
We do. A lot of these characters we won't actually see in this part, but I do want to point out that Ventus is there.
Oh.
But we're like a million years in the past. Just simmer on that for a bit. Just think about that for a bit. So, back cover, we've covered. That was the story of how the Keyblade War was started from the Master's perspective. This game is going to go over that as our own player insert character. And I gave you a little bit of homework last time, coming up with a name for the character, because I didn't want to just say player every single time I refer to them. So you did.
His name is gonna be Jens.
Exactly. I made a design for him as well.
Yay!
I downloaded the app to make this design, because you can still download the app. The game doesn't function as a game anymore, but you can watch all the cutscenes and still make like your own character with their Keyblade and stuff. The screenshots I'm not going to include this character design because I think I mentioned it before. I'm using Demo 279's voiced cutscene compilation, which is amazing.
Right.
For like the purposes of me not having to read all the dialogue in like a 5-hour cutscene compilation. And the screenshots are just going to contain his character design that he used and that he made. But anytime you see a screenshot of that character, just imagine it's this instead. So yeah, we'll be seeing like this guy instead. For like Union Cross players, like the Union Cross community, this is kind of like the unofficial canon character because everybody just watches this version of events.
Yeah.
So in Union Cross, you start off choosing your totally not Hogwarts house.
No, because there are 5.
Yeah, there's 5, so it can't be the same. Of course not. There's a 5th one. It's totally different. For the purpose of this this video and the cutting compilation that I watched, we're gonna go with the unicorn one called Unicornus because it's just so creative.
Also, you said that the unicorn one was way more popular than all the other ones.
From what I remember, not most people, but like a plurality of people chose that one. So it was kind of unbalanced to begin with, yeah.
If this is how you're presenting, how you're presented with it,
It looks evil as fuck.
but it also looks dope as fuck.
Yeah.
And it's in the middle, and it's the only one which has a point sticker. They want you to pick this one.
Yeah, no, definitely. There's a lot of like visual indications that draw you towards that one.
Yeah.
As well as the unicorn union leader being like the leader of the 5 union leaders. You don't know that at this point if you're going in fresh, but especially people who like jumped in on this after they watched the back cover movie. There's a lot of reasons to pick the unicorn dude. That's all I'm saying. And that's what we're going to be doing for our quote-unquote playthrough here. We'll be pretending like we're part of the unicorn union. That will impact a couple of cutscenes where it's just your union leader that shows up. For us, that will be Ira, the unicorn. So you go through some basic tutorials, learning to fight Heartless. Your master tells you about joining parties and making friends, and you defeat more powerful Heartless when you work together, and it's a mobile game, so it's semi-multiplayer. You can like link up and share score stuff. Honestly, I never played this for more than half an hour, and then I got bored because my energy for the day ran out, because it's a fucking mobile game. And then I never play it again, and I just watch cutscenes online. I fucking hate this game. Love the story, hate the game. He explains that there's also other unions, which, much like us, have the job of defeating the darkness to gather light. But maybe not all of them share our goal of bringing peace to the world. Some wielders may choose to walk a path of darkness. In this tutorial, you also meet your Charity.
Yay.
Every wielder in the world gets one as a guide. Somebody that just tells you how things work and just helps you in your training. You call him Discount Dobby. He's also kind of like this game's version of Jiminy Cricket.
Yeah, he's just a walking tutorial.
He's a walking tutorial that also has some characterization. It teaches you how to travel between worlds, which is not quite accurate, but we'll get to that in a moment. Because you can't go around this very nice little town, Daybreak Town, fighting Heartless. You need to do that somewhere else to gather the light, because otherwise collateral damage, and we don't want that because insurance claims, and it's messy.
Just go fuck up another world. Don't blow up your own back garden.
Exactly.
Blow up someone else's.
It's just that easy.
Yeah.
That said, though, there's no other worlds. This is pre-Keyblade War, so the worlds haven't been split up yet. There's just one like mega Disneyland Pangea, because the Keyblade War is the reason that the world split up in the first place.
Right, yeah.
And that hasn't happened yet. So this is not so much teleporting to another world as much as it is, I don't want to walk all the way the fuck over there, I'm just going to use a portal.
Yeah, fair enough. Also, is that just a dark portal? Because, you know, you just started as Keyblade wielder and you're just like, hey, dark portal, let's go.
It is distinctly different from a dark portal. But you do bring up a good point, and that is up until this point, aside from a few moments in Birth by Sleep, only dark people ever open portals, and now Keyblade wielders are doing it. I have no idea.
I mean, they're not portals between worlds, so maybe they're different or something.
Maybe. This feels more similar to the portals that are used by like Terra Ventus and Aqua in Birth by Sleep. So there might be a Keyblade power that's just never really deeply explained that allows you to open the portals. Because, I mean, it's a key. You can open things with it.
Yeah.
We're just going to go with that.
Yeah, sure.
So you spend a few months going around doing Disney bullshit. There's a couple of times in the script where I'm just going to say, we do some Disney bullshit, and then we move on. Because most of this doesn't matter. Even more so than the other Kingdom Hearts games. This is just there's like 100 missions in Disney worlds, and then there's like 2 missions with story relevance, and then there's another 100 missions in Disney worlds, which just rinse and repeat. This game lasted for 8 years.
Very cute Disney designs, though.
I actually like don't mind the art style for the Disney. Like, it's a little weird for the Kingdom Hearts unique characters. That's like, I don't love it. The Disney, like Jafar, for instance, here actually works remarkably well.
Hercules is a bit of
yeah.
yeah.
To be honest, I don't think there's been a single
Yeah,
Kingdom
of
Hearts
course.
game where Hercules actually looks good, other than Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2.
Yeah, true.
Because in 3 he also looked weird.
It especially here it just looks like someone has a giant head cheat code on.
Yeah. Yeah, no, his proportions are all out of whack.
Yeah.
But that's just a Hercules curse. He always looks just, well, very cursed.
Yeah.
It's also part of the art style where things are out of proportion, because you could say the same thing for like Aladdin to a certain extent, but much less.
Yeah.
So we defeat Disney villains, we do stuff, and we gather Lux, light energy, which is very clever because Lux is a measurement of light. So clever.
You have a key and you collect logs.
Yeah.
Sure.
Lux, as in Lux.
Yeah, and it sounds like log.
Kinda. Kinda. I'll give you that. Charity guides you through these adventures, teaching you about the power of friendship and the way hearts can connect to each other. One day, you stumble upon Snow White, who is taking a nap. Sleeping in a coffin, Charity, I'm going to get fucked up on the name Charity in the script a lot, by the way, because Google Docs automatically autocorrects it to Charity. And
He's sort of a...
he's a bit of a charity case.
and also a bit of slavery, but...
Yeah. So anti-charity, really.
Yeah.
Anyway, Snow White is taking a nap, and Charity remarks that maybe you could wake her up. But no, you don't have that power yet. Referring to our favorite, not understandable Deus Ex Machina, the power of
fucking
awakening.
power of awakening, yeah.
We don't have it yet, so we can't help this Disney princess who, I might add, again, we're like a million years in the past. This was also a scene that took place in Birth by Sleep.
Timey-wimey and stuff.
There's actually like a semi-explanation for this later.
Or she has been asleep like
A million years.
very fucking long.
It's been a very good nap.
Oh yeah, I could use one like that.
Yeah. In Agrabah, it notes that pretending to be something you're not will never lead to happiness. Also, people are like, it's the end of January. Why the fuck are you setting off fireworks? Can you hear that?
Yeah.
My god. Anyway, in Agrabah, it remarks that pretending to be something that you're not will never lead to actual happiness. Something that everybody should try to remember, as well as the fucking laws regarding fireworks. One day, in an adventure in the underworld, I suck at cropping images. It says that darkness is a shortcut to power, but once you start down the road to darkness, you may not be able to come back, which of course it says this to you while you're in the underworld because it's a spooky place. But in the end, it is the player's choice to use it or not, except there's no gameplay mechanic that actually like has a morality system, so it kind of isn't.
And besides that, he could have just said, with darkness comes great power, and with great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah, but Disney doesn't own Spider-Man yet. And
Yeah.
especially 8 years ago, they didn't. Well,
Yeah,
at this point, it's like
true.
11 years ago. They didn't.
True.
Like, they barely owned Marvel by then.
They were doing their thing 10 years ago.
Yeah,
They've been going a while with the Marvel thing.
True. Yeah, I forget that time progresses. Unlike Nomura, who just ignores the concept of time progressing, but we'll get to that.
And I'd like to be reminded of it.
Yeah. After your training completes, Charity tells you about the Master of Masters and the Foretellers, and that's all stuff we know. There's a book of prophecies, light expires, darkness prevails, blah blah blah. We've literally seen this play out.
Yeah.
So, one of the things that we learn here is that the way we do combat in this game is by using medals.
Oh god.
Which you might be thinking, hold on a fucking moment, we're millions of years in the past. Why do these medals have Sora, Donald, Goofy, Winnie the fucking Pooh?
Stuff and things and what the hell?
First and foremost, this is just loot box central, is what this is.
Yeah.
But there's an explanation as to why these future characters show up on these medals.
All right.
Because of course there is.
How the fuck they get this straight?
But I don't explain it yet, so I'm going to keep you in the dark as well, apparently.
God damn it.
A few weeks later, you run into Charity, which congratulates you on your progress. And it says it has something to make you even stronger. And it gives you an item called a power bangle, which I think is like a +3 strength increase or something like that. After it gives you, it just poofs away. And another Charity comes down the stair behind you, seeming very confused.
Did you just commit charity cheating?
Maybe. It's kind of hard to tell because they're all the exact same design. Well, that's not true. There's actually one Charity that looks visibly... Well, no. There's two Charity that look visibly different. One of which we'll talk about today. The other one we'll cover next time. Later, our Charity runs into that Charity.
This is getting very fucking confusing.
Yeah, they don't have names. They're all just Charity. Don't worry. They at some point, like... I'll just tell you now, this other Charity that's not ours is the one that eventually gets a different design because it's a reoccurring character. And otherwise, it would be really hard to tell when it's yours and when it's, like, this one.
Yeah. Let's be real, if you had this in... Well, I was going to say if you had this in the real world, but let's be real. Anywho, if I were in this situation, I would just, I don't know, take a marker and put a symbol somewhere.
Well, the other one, that's not really a spoiler. There's a character later on that like wears a hat, a specific type of hat.
Yeah, that also works.
And he just gives his Charity like a miniature version of that hat, so they match.
That's fucking cute.
That's kind of amazing. I wish there was an option to do that, honestly. Like, customize your Charity as well as your character. And then all the other Charities that you talk to, like, look vaguely like the wielder that they are, like, bonded to. That would be kind of cute. They didn't do that, because then they would have to make a lot more sprites.
You had 8 years.
Yeah, but this is a mobile game, so low cost, high profit.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of mobile game development.
Low cost, much loot box. Yeah.
Exactly. They're talking about the wielders not fully understanding what's going on yet. But they need to trust them, and they need to keep the 5 unions going as they are. While this is all going on, our dearly beloved boy, Jans, is helping out some other Keyblade wielders because there's been an outbreak of Heartless in town. And like we talked about before, we can't have the town breaking down because insurance doesn't like that.
Yeah.
So he decides, okay, I'm going to join up with you guys and we're going to just kick some ass and we're going to get these Heartless out of here.
As legal is going to get involved and then we have to do a incident report.
Yeah, and we don't want to do that because then our premium will go up and that's just a whole thing. Let's just nip this in the bud now. When he returns, however, he runs into Charity, who says he is not coming, but he left a message. Sorry for not keeping our promise. I'm going to be real with you. When I watched this cutscene compilation, and to this moment, I think that this cutscene might be out of order. Because this scene doesn't make any sense to you at the moment.
No, not at all. I
kept it in here because I trust the creator of this cutscene compilation who actually played the game to remember the order of the cutscenes, but to me this seems like something that's out of order. If anybody in the comments would like to clarify whether or not I'm right on that, that would be hugely appreciated, because I'm sure that there's people watching this that actually played this game, unlike me. Later though, Charity meets up with the other Charity again. Or a other Charity, who the fuck knows which one this is, because again, they look the exact same, all of them. But as you can see, this one isn't quite feeling alright. It's kind of dying. We're like 35 bullet points in and we've already got these cute animals dying. This is going to be a good one. Because, as we learn, its wielder disappeared into the darkness and has been corrupted and is presumably also dead. So here we learn that when a child dies, the stuffed animal also dies. You know?
No.
Colourful mobile game stuff.
No.
At least they're not dogs.
Well, kind of.
If anything, they're cats. Which, now that you do have a cat, you probably don't like the idea of a cat dying as well.
Well, the good thing with cats, as long as they're not locked into the home.
They'll survive.
When I die, my cat somehow gets outside, it's fine.
For the most part. These cats, however, they are like soul bonded to their wielder. So when one of them dies, the other dies with them. And that's what we're seeing.
So so they look like cats, but they behave like dogs.
Yeah, pretty much. That's. I should also point out that they are very clearly, not in this, but in Game of 3 we saw one. They're like pretty clearly artificial beings, because they are made out of like they are stitched together. Like they're actual like stuffed animals that are just alive.
Someone sniffed some of the Toy Story dust and had a.
It's the Master of Masters that created them.
Oh,
That's like explicitly stated in both this game and back cover, I believe. He created one for every Keyblade wielder, and somehow also linked their life force together, because the Master of Masters is just a dick.
Yeah.
This one dies, however, because the child that it was connected to also dies, and as it dies, Master Ira shows up. Says that the wielders are gathering locks, but darkness is growing at an equal pace, or perhaps even a faster pace, which that wouldn't be good.
Who knew?
Prompting the Charity to ask if it means that there's really a traitor among the 5 leaders. That night, our boy Jins has a dream about Master of Masters and the Foretellers in the Daybreak Down Castle, which is kind of weird because he's never been there, because normal people aren't allowed in here. So how he's dreaming about this, who knows?
It's magic.
Except, when he wakes up, Charity tries to calm him down and say, just go back to sleep, it's okay, before turning around and seeing another Charity. Again. It asks the one outside if it was the one showing us the dream. The other Charity responds with, what is it that you're trying to do? Our Charity responds, the opposite of whatever it is you're doing. The one outside says, I guess that makes us enemies, and disappears. The next day, you're cleaning up some Heartless around town. This is a big-ass, like, mini-boss type Heartless. When you run into somebody also fighting this Heartless, and it's a normal fucking hair person. We've seen him before.
And on the cover thingy.
It's a boy, and he introduces himself as, not having his cursor on the right monitor, Aphamer. This is Aphamer. He is from Ava's union. Ava is the girl with the fox mask.
Right.
Unless you're in Ava's union, at which point you will be in a different union. I don't know which one. The point being is he's always going to be in a union that's different from yours. Because the whole theme with Aphamer is that he's your union from a different friend? No. Friend from a different union. Showing
brother
that...
from another mother.
Yeah, he's your brother from another... Exactly. He tells you, though, that today he's not really doing any union work. So he's a scab. He tells you, though, he's got a little bit of a secret. And now that you're friends, because you met like 5 seconds ago, you're the best friends, that's how Kingdom Hearts works.
Yeah, of course.
He's going to share this secret with you, because the worlds that you're visiting aren't the real world. Oh.
Dun, dun, dun. Matrix, motherfucker.
This is like 2 years after this game started or something like that, and at this point the writers probably realized, hey, wait a second, the thing that we've been doing doesn't make sense. So they wrote this in.
Now they realize that?
Yeah. So when we portal around, we go into hologram projections of those worlds. And the light we gather from that is just siphoning off from like the real world that exists in this time period. But instead of going there and actually meddling with the people there, we're just going into like a hologram projection of the future.
And when you're training kids, that would be good.
I suppose so, yeah. But Aphamer thinks that it's done through the use of the Book of Prophecies, because we know there's a Book of Prophecies, and we're going into projections of the future, which also is the explanation as to why there is characters that are not yet born on the medals that we use for combat, aside from Prophet.
Sure. But how, where, if you can just travel anywhere and end up in the projection of the future, the Book of Prophecies is just based on what that eye thingy sees.
It is?
So So is it just a vague interpretation?
I would very much like to know. We can assume that Lucio with the no-name Keyblade has just been visiting so many Disney worlds, and there's so much in the Book of Prophecies that it kind of just is enough to make projections of those worlds. And
just give it all the data you have and throw it into, I don't know, ChatGPT.
Yeah, exactly. ChatGPT just fills in the gaps, right?
Yeah, whatever.
It's just generative AI.
Also, I just noticed that they're standing in some sort of ball pit or whatever.
That's a flower garden.
All right, and there's a lot of there's a lot of Mickeys in there.
Yeah, there's a lot of Mickeys in there. Yeah, for sure. Did I ever tell you in Kingdom Hearts 3 there's like a bunch of hidden Mickeys that you can take photos of?
No, you didn't tell me that, but that makes sense.
That's like a whole gameplay mechanic. There's like 99 hidden Mickeys throughout the game, and you need to get them all for like a item that you use to craft the ultimate weapon.
I hate that sort of.
Yeah, it's fun until it's not.
Yeah. I mean, you just end up watching a video on YouTube that shows you where they all are, and then in one sitting you're gonna just go through everything, and then you're done.
Yeah, you find about like 40 to 50 of them naturally while playing through the game, and then you go through the game again with a guide just to do the tick boxes, which is...
Yeah.
I suppose if it's just for the strongest weapon in the game, like it's not that important. It's not like there's any like relevant stuff that you unlock through that otherwise. And unlocking that weapon is a pain in the ass anyway, because you also need to like get max score in a couple of mini games, and it's a pain. All that said, though, the worlds we're visiting are in real worlds. Afama thinks that I should just throw my phone away.
Throw your phone at the fireworks that were outside.
Well, fireworks are gone, and I kind of need my phone after this still. So, can you just shut the fuck up, please? It's just the most chaotic this has ever been. We tell Afama that we had a dream about the tower where the foretellers always like just hang out and meet, and that's strictly forbidden for us to go into. So naturally, Afama is like, let's go check it out. Let's go into the tower that we're definitely not supposed to be going into.
Sure.
And as we run off, we see Charity appear. Ours asking the other one, and this is the issue with Charity. I don't know. I just says it's asked the other one. Is that one yours? I don't know which one asks it, because fuck if I know.
Well, at least one of them now finally is somewhat distinguishable, having a bit darker.
Ours actually comments on that. It says, you're not the same color that you were before. The darker one, which I can now refer to as the darker one, thank you very much, says, very perceptive, and asks the lighter one if it's going to allow us, Jensen, Afama, to find out the truth before it disappears. At the tower, we asked Afama to try to find a way in, decided to split up to search around more efficiently. After a while, we both have made our way inside the tower. After beating a few Heartless, Afama says that they probably should leave. They've been gone for way too long. They should probably come back some other day and keep searching inside of the tower then. They agree to meet up at the Fountain Square the next day. That night, we go to sleep, and we get some text 1 year earlier, where Master Ava gets her role to create the Dandelions, the Keyblade wielders that survive past the war and eventually rebuild the world.
Yeah.
We've seen this very scene in the back cover movie. This time, though, the scene goes on for a little bit longer. He tells her that after the war, when the Dandelions survive, there will be 5 new Union leaders, because of course, the foretellers, who are the leaders now, will be fucking dead. He explains that the 5 new leaders will be the only ones who know about the world having ended. Everybody else will have their memories wiped. Ava is shocked at this and asks if the Master can even do such a thing, to which the Master simply answers, apparently so. Which brings me back to the idea that this guy is super aware that he's like in a video game, and
Yeah.
he can just read the script a couple of lines ahead, and he's like, oh, me, I can do that. Cool.
No, you can just read the whole script. I mean, he has the Book of Prophecies. He can just, even though he doesn't know he can do that, he can read ahead, see, oh, I did a thing there.
Apparently,
I didn't know I could do that. Apparently, I can do that. Oh, that's cool.
yeah, that's his literal dialogue. Apparently so. He hands her a page with 5 names on it. One of the 5 names is circled in red. These are the 5 new union leaders, and the one circled in red gets 1 free copy of the Book of Prophecies.
Whoop, whoop. And a 30-day free trial. Yeah.
Of nobody is sponsoring this shit. We see the next scene with Afama getting recruited to be one of the 5 new union leaders in the next week. She also hands him a rule book saying that it'll help him and his new colleagues start on being the new union leaders. She tells Afama to go prepare the other world.
You're getting a promotion. Do I get paid more? No.
No. You get to not die.
Yay.
And you get to keep your memories of not dying. So, honestly, you're the only person, like these 5 people, are the only people who are getting kind of an okay deal here.
Well, maybe, sort of. If you're the only 5 people that can remember that every fucking thing ended and everybody's dead, maybe not so fun. I mean, you're gonna need some therapy, but who the fuck are you gonna get therapy for something that didn't happen for the rest of the world?
That's fair. I just want to point out that you are, at this point, siding with the slightly fascist Master of Masters.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not wrong. It's just not the position that the game necessarily wants you to take. Because they actually have this discussion, Afama and Ava. And Afama says, I don't know if I'm really comfortable with everybody's memory being wiped here. That doesn't really seem like a cool thing to do. And Ava's just like, yeah, you say that now, but there's going to be like a war, and that's people are not going to want to remember that. So
Yeah, maybe.
There we get into a very like deep discussion of historical revisionism. Like,
Yeah,
shouldn't we remember this shit to like not repeat it?
Yeah, maybe.
But that's why the new union leaders will remember, right? So everything is well.
Everybody can forget. We'll remember for you. It'll be fine.
That's totally fine. The next day, we are waiting at the fountain all day, but Afama doesn't seem to show up. At night, our charity comes to tell us to, let's just go home. He's not coming. But not to be.
You've been waiting here for 5 years, for 5 hours. Your boyfriend ain't coming.
Yeah, pretty much. But he also says, please don't be upset at Afama. It's probably something important, like an emergency came up and he just couldn't come over. A friend always keeps his promise, after all. It tells you not to be sad, because when you're sad, it gets sad. And this is kind of why in the earlier scene where I said this feels really out of order, it feels like that scene is supposed to take place after this, because at this point we've like established a promise of meeting up.
Yeah, that would make a lot more sense. Yeah.
So again, if anybody in the comments can point out whether I'm wrong or right about that, whether the cutscene compilation was just confused, I would be grateful, because I honestly don't know. But Afama didn't show up, and we're really sad about that. But we're not allowed to be sad because Charity doesn't want us to be sad. Which, there's like, if there's any sponsor for this video, it would be BetterHelp, because all these people need fucking therapy.
Yeah.
That night though, Jans, being still kind of upset about not meeting with Afama, has a dream about Afama, who says, do I have a screenshot of that? I do. He was sorry to keep him waiting. And he takes us back into the tower, on the adventure that we promised each other that we would have. We hesitate, however, making him realize that maybe we're not ready quite yet. And he disappears into a cloud of dandelions.
Well.
As we wake up, wanting to go search for Afama in the tower, Charity says, hey, the foretellers lately kind of been stressing out. There's a bit of tension going on. So maybe going into the tower with 4 hostile union leaders just living there, because you're not allowed in there, not a great
Maybe
idea.
Don't. Yeah, maybe don't.
Don't do that. Of course, we sneak into the tower immediately anyway, because fuck Charity. Apparently.
And you're a kid. This player character is a kid.
Yeah, they're like 12 years old. Of course they're not going to listen.
Tell a 12-year-old not to do a thing. It's the easiest way to get him to do a thing.
The first thing that they're going to do is that thing. So they go into the murder tower, and that's where we find Master Ava. You tell her that you heard Afama has been seen talking to her, because you've been going around for a couple of days. Like I said, that's the first thing we do. It's actually not. You go around talking to some NPCs. You're like, oh yeah, I've seen Ephemer. He was talking to Sarava, and then so on and so forth. And this is kind of like, you're the last person he was seen talking to before he disappeared.
You talk to my boyfriend. How dare you?
Yeah. Not quite those vibes, but we can you can interpret it that way if you want to. She says, hey, cool that you came to check him out, but you're not allowed to be in here. So she raises her Keyblade and says,
get the fuck out of my house.
You're honest, you're smart, show me what you got. And she absolutely wrecks your shit. And apparently I don't have a screenshot of that. But she kicks your ass. She sees some potential in you, but also sadness in your heart, which is dangerous and could lead to darkness. She tells you to learn to let go of that sadness.
Oh my god, all these people fucking need therapy.
Yeah, no, seriously.
telling someone, don't be sad because either I'm gonna be sad if you're sad, or you're not allowed to be sad because if you're sad then you're gonna be a bad person.
All these people are abusive as hell.
Let someone be sad.
Yes.
It's a natural thing. It'll be fine.
I can't help but agree. It's really weird how they just keep telling us not to be sad. That night, Charity is watching us sleep, because it does that every night. But Master Ava's also just chilling in our room, because that's not weird at all.
Nah.
She asks...
having one of your employers just watching you sleep, yeah, that's fine.
That's fine. It's more like, it's pretty much that.
Yeah.
But she asked Charity if it was the one showing you the dream of Ephemer, but it says, no, I didn't do that. Ava then notes that must mean that Ephemer himself was the one showing that dream, so he must be getting very close to the truth.
Mm-hmm.
She reveals that Ephemer has fallen into an unchained state and is now in a different realm altogether. Some more Disney shit happens, which I don't care to cover, and because you're doing so well, the Charity gives you a present. The Bracelets of Light.
Wow.
Yeah. This thing will protect you against the darkness, which is a good thing, really, because you're being sent to a mission to a corridor of darkness.
Are we going to a bad textures too?
Kind of, maybe. No. There's actually... I don't think I have a screenshot of what it looks like on the inside. It's just like purple noise textures is really what it is. So kinda. But there's no third dimension for it to be a cylinder in this case. So it's just badly textured background.
Yeah.
That night, Master Ira is talking to a Charity, which I assume is your Charity, but the design of these Charities really doesn't help. It could be his Charity, it could be a random Charity, it could be yours. I'm
Who knows?
reading this as it being your Charity. Because it's worried that we're being sent off to this mission far too early and that we can't take something this dangerous on. Ira says that they need to be quick. Darkness is growing near very, very quickly, and they need as many warriors as they can get. After a few more missions, your Charity says that you've been doing well, but you can't stop to rest now. If you rest, the other unions will get ahead. And a voice from off-screen asks why that even matters. And to Scold, one of our actual characters in this game. She says that gathering light shouldn't be a competition. They're all trying to protect the same thing, after all. The first person with, like, an actual brain has arrived. Thanks.
And it's a female.
Yeah, it's a female who's doing a thing.
Wow.
We're evolving, okay? It's phase 2. We can do this now. She introduces herself, telling us that her name is Scold, saying that Ephemer told her all about us. They used to be in a party together, going out on raids and beating Heartless together, but one day...
They were in a party together and going out on raves?
Raids.
Oh.
Maybe raves too, I don't know.
I'm just imagining a bunch of Keyblade wielders somewhere under a bitch having a big old hardcore rave or something.
To be honest, they do bring like their own disco lights with the Keyblades.
Yeah.
So, probably would be lit as hell. But I also don't want to think what happens when you get Keyblade wielders, number 1, just generally drunk, and number 2, on all of the other substances that would be at a party like that. That's how you create Xehanorts. That's what happens there.
Yeah.
But she used to be very good friends with Ephemer, is really what it comes down to. But then one day he just vanished. But recently he showed up in one of her dreams and told her to go find us. And we tell her, wait, Ephemer's been in your dreams too? That cheating bitch, he's been in mine as well. So let's go together to where we were supposed to meet him in the first place. But Charity says I've told you, that's a bad idea. Don't go into the tower. You've already been caught once, you survived, let's not do that again. They run towards the tower, and they feel the ground shake as they run. They look up into the sky and see two of the masters fighting.
Who knew?
That's not a good sign, is it?
Really not.
This is the same fight that we watched in back cover, and holy hell, there's actual graphics! Because this is a PlayStation 4 screenshot instead of a mobile game screenshot. I just wanted to remind you that we have seen this battle, like actual animated. That's roughly when this happens.
Right.
Skuld says that in her dream, Ephemer said that the end of the world was drawing near. And seeing the masters fight, she's like, yeah, that sounds about right. That's checks out.
Yep, makes sense.
On our way to the tower, because we now know our way in, we've snuck in twice, we run into some Darklings, trying to steal our locks. And you might be saying, what the fuck is a Darkling?
Some sort of darkness minion.
Specifically, a Darkling is a Keyblade wielder fallen to darkness.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like if a Keyblade wielder becomes a Heartless, they become a Darkling instead. Don't ask why Sora didn't turn into one when he became a Heartless.
We didn't think of that at that point, so it's fine.
Yeah,
Just
that was
forget
like
about
that was the first game. Darkness didn't exist yet, so that's why.
Exactly.
After we beat them, though, they run away, and we see Nightmare Charity. Our Charity recognizes it as the one that we talked to before. The one with the slightly darker shade is now just like actually evil.
Nice.
Nightmare Charity says that it's just trying to help. If it takes away everybody's locks, there's no reason to be fighting each other anymore, and the end of the world can be prevented. It's just being nice.
Sure, that's why you're looking evil.
Yeah, it really is the Voldemort issue, isn't it?
Yeah.
Villains should at least be believable to themselves that they're doing the right thing. If you look like this...
I mean, come on.
Maybe look in the mirror, is all I'm saying. I don't know if that's like charity racism or whatever, but I don't care.
Well, if they all look exactly the same and this one is different, then you're gonna get some racism.
That's going to amplify any sort of racism.
Yeah.
Like a lot.
And Thanos was
Also
kind
purple.
of nuts, but at least he looked sort of
Like nuts.
Also purple indeed, and also looked a bit like nuts. But within the context of that world, he was not that. He was imposing, but not terrifying or just straight up evil looking.
Yeah, like it's again same thing with Xehanort, right? Xehanort's just when I showed you him the first time
Hello,
together
I'm a
with
bad guy. Hello.
yes. This Dark Charity, like, yeah, what he's saying makes sense, but look at him. I don't know, man.
Yeah. You've got glowing red eyes. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, I'm not gonna side with anything with glowing red eyes, unless it's a robot who's trying to kill me, at which point, who knows?
Maybe.
Like Terminator, maybe.
Yeah.
It goes on a whole speech about how amazing darkness is and how it can make the weak-hearted into powerful beings like those Darklings we saw. Those were just push-over Keyblade wheels, but now they're powerful beings and blah, blah, blah. Darkness is amazing and no downside at all, no corruption and it's happening here at all.
You want to get some darkness? Come on, get some darkness over here. It's great. Get some darkness here.
I've got some darkness. The first sample is free. Get them hooked. Our Charity asks the Nightmare who its wielder is, and it answers, "They're closer than you think," and vanishes.
Ominous as fuck.
Yeah.
Nice.
We make our way into the tower, and Charity is still like, "You guys shouldn't be doing this. Don't sneak into the tower. That's a bad idea." But I, like, literally cannot stop you. I just keep repeating this.
How many fucking times do I need to say this? Get the fuck out of here.
But he follows us through, because it's a faithful companion to the very end. And we make our way all the way up to the tower, this time, into the Fortalis chamber. And Charity's like, okay, we shouldn't be in the tower, but we should especially not be in here. what the fuck is wrong with you people? Can we please go now? There's nothing to see here. It asks that. Like, okay, we've been here. This is the place that we definitely shouldn't be. You can see, nothing to see. Let's go home before we get caught.
Move along, people. Nothing to see here. Move along.
Yeah, and at the moment he asks, can we please go, is when Master Ira walks in and says, go where?
Oh, and we're fucked.
You're not going anywhere. Why are you here? It says, it's he. Sorry. Ira is definitely a person. Ira says that it caught another Keyblade wielder sneaking into the tower the other day. And he explains that the other unions, so this will just always be your union leader, have been collecting locks for very different reasons than ours. And that Aphama befriending us was just to get information out of us. Nothing more. He wasn't our friend. But don't worry, he's no longer a threat. Gentle Skull look at Ira and ask, what? And Ira just shrugs, what are you going to do about it, plebs? Get good. We woke up, however, to Ira raising our Keyblade. This time I chose to make a screenshot with dialogue, saying, Master Ira, I mean no disrespect, but this is something I must do. I'm gonna fuck you up. And instead, he fucks us up. Because we're still a fucking child. And he is a master. So obviously we get our ass kicked. And after the battle, it is revealed that this was never Ira. This was Ava. And this was all a projection. We were never actually inside the tower.
For fuck's sake.
This was all a test. She explains that, yes, the world is about to end, and we need to gather some very good light Keyblade wielders to carry on the light after the destruction of the world, to fend off any further darkness. And that's her whole job, gathering those secret wielders. We know this. She says, hey, you can join us, you too. You seem like good people. You can join the Dandelions. And Scold is like, not dying? That sounds fucking amazing. Sign me up.
Hell yeah.
Jensen, however, thinks, but what about the people who don't get chosen? It doesn't seem entirely fair, does it?
Just don't think about it. You're not gonna die.
Yeah. Ava says, well, they'll join the Keyblade War and kind of just have to deal with the fact that you survive and they don't. Just not much you can do about that, really. Other than...
For the greater good.
Yeah, other than deciding not to join and also dying. Is that what you want to do? I don't think that's what you want to do. But Jen says, I want to think about it for a bit, because this doesn't vibe with me very much. Like, you people are actually, like, kind of fucked up in the head. And Ava says, of course, it's your decision. You can take as long as you want, until, of course, the Keyblade War actually happens, at which point it's kind of important that you do make a choice. But until then, take the time you need.
If you, at that point, you haven't made a choice, then...
Your choice is dying.
Choice. Yeah.
And now we enter the final chapter. And you might be saying, hey, this is going by very, very quickly. The final chapter already. We're about 60% away through my script. Most of the important shit all crammed into this file.
Alright.
We walk into the Fountain Plaza, Fountain Square, whatever you want to call it. And we see two Keyblade wielders. Also, Ava gives a speech to the Dandelions. And I included this screenshot because I thought this was really funny. We spent like a good 10 minutes in the back cover episode talking about how there's duplicate character models in that. You will remember that. On the bottom right here, you will see the Kingdom Hearts Key version of the same scene with like a lot of like customized player characters and also Scolders in there. It's funny how the mobile game version doesn't have duplicate characters.
It has a lot less characters.
It also has a lot less characters. And it also already had a system in place to like make customized characters, so it makes sense.
Yeah, just put that system on fucking random and you're done. But
yeah.
It seems like they went through the effort to make them look a bit like each other.
In some cases, yeah.
Yeah, some of them kind of match.
Anyway, the next day, or some days after, I don't know when this takes place, but at some point in the future, we walk into the Fountain Plaza, seeing two Keyblade wielders being ready to throw down. We walk into the middle of them, trying to calm things down. Like, hey, we shouldn't be fighting each other. We should be fighting the darkness. And they're both like, yeah, but what if they are the darkness? Like, there's a traitor somewhere among the Keyblade wielders. And the person,
it's probably him.
It's probably him. And then the other says, well, no, you're only saying that because you're the darkness. And we're just standing there in the middle of, fuck's sake, please, don't fight. And of course they do start fighting.
I have a crown on my head if I say you stop fighting.
I'm the fucking
stop
king,
fighting.
motherfucker. Mickey hasn't been born yet. Do as I
Fuck
say.
outta here.
I say that I think Mickey, Donald, and Goofy do show up at some point in the game.
Well, it makes sense that they are eternal figures.
Kind of. The Disney characters, right? Disney characters just are ethereal.
They just are.
They just are. It's not in the cutscene compilation because it's not at all relevant. I believe what they're doing is making the first version of the gummy ship, and it's like the Steamboat Willie, which is now actually public domain.
Fun. Yay!
So I could have shown you, but out of gummy blocks. It's kind of cute, but it's not relevant. As we're fighting each other, Skull also shows up and joins our whole spiel of don't fight each other, we're all protectors of the light. And again, they're saying, yeah, I'm trying to protect the light from that dark asshole over there, as they point at each other. And then Master Ased shows up, saying that it's too late, man. The war's already begun. The only thing that matters now is strength. Also, he kicks your fucking ass because he's level 5,000. So yeah, that's kind of the downside of a game being so long running as this. The level scaling goes absolutely bananas. You can see he's dealing 13,000 damage. By the end of this game, you're dealing like 12 to 15 million damage every time you attack. And you start in like, your first missions you're doing like in the order of magnitude of tens of damage.
Oh dear.
So the damage scaling in this game is absolutely fucked. Because it ran for 8 years.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah, Master Ased absolutely wrecks your shit. You just get beaten up by almost every master in the game.
Well, they're fucking masters.
But maybe like don't actually attack children is kind of what I mean.
Well, if you at the end of the game deal like 25 million damage and he just did 13,000, that's kind of a light spanking.
Don't think about it. Don't think about the damage scaling because that's not canon. That's just fucked up gameplay from somebody who didn't look more than a couple of months in the future. So definitely not the Master of Masters who balanced that.
Yeah.
Erez on my side though, saying, the fuck, dude, you are a Keyblade Master, why are you attacking a child? Like, that's highly not cool. Also, why are you attacking a child from my union, of all things? It's double not cool. Ased repeats his whole speech about power being important and how the other unions are gathering locks for selfish reasons, and he's going to be the most powerful of everybody and overthrow the other union so he can be the singular leader of the world that the world needs. He just wants to be a dictator.
Well, it's just a no one trusts anyone kind of situation in which you're probably evil, so I'm gonna do some evil things so I can be the good guy.
Yeah.
Sort of situation.
Except everybody's thinking that, and seemingly there might not actually be anybody that's evil.
Or anybody who's not evil.
That's a very good matter of perspective. Anyway, Ased says, you know, all this stuff about unions and fighting each other, I honestly don't give a shit. I will see you on the battlefield, era. And just leaves through a portal. As we fade into the next scene, we hear a voice saying, I have a secret. And we pan up to the roof of one of the houses of this little fountain square, where we see a red-haired girl sitting named Strelitzia. This is a secret spot where she likes to hang out with her charity. She reminisces on how her life has changed so much in the last 2 years of being a Keyblade wielder. Meeting new friends, losing some of those friends, and beyond all other things, there's always been one thing that's been constant in her life. Gens. It shows us a number of scenes of us just walking past her without really interacting much, but it seems like she has like quite a bit of a crush on us.
You just gotta love it when well, I was gonna say a game, but any sort of story just is like, here's a new character. Oh, I just love that I've always been in the life of the main protagonist of this whole story, which we've been following for quite a while now, and we haven't seen you yet.
Yeah.
But it's so nice, I've been always there.
That's a funny thing, though. It kind of fits, because it's not implying that we're like best buddies or anything. She's just like been watching us from afar, because she's way too nervous to actually come up to us and talk to us.
And she's just being a creep.
Yeah, it's kind of cute, because she's shy, right? Let's just assume that it's very cute, because we're supposed to like her.
Yeah,
Let's pretend like it's cute. Later, though, she is meeting with Master Ava, who tries to ask her a favor. Later that night, we see she has one of the... Oh, I don't have a screenshot of that. As she's in bed, she has the green rulebook that Ephemer also got, meaning that Strelitzia has also been chosen to be one of the 5 new Union leaders after the war. And she says, a Union leader, I can't believe it. It's such a responsibility. I'm all nervous. When suddenly she realizes that Jens isn't a dandelion. He won't survive the war. She gets out of bed and up to the front door to go find us and tell us about everything and make us join the dandelions. And then she realizes, it's the middle of the night. I probably should just go back to bed. You know what I'll do? I'll wake up super early in the morning. I'll go to Fountain Square and I'll just wait for him there. And she goes back to bed and goes to sleep. Charity isn't a huge fan of this plan because she's not supposed to talk to anybody about the world ending, because that kind of like set off mass chaos. Don't really want that.
Yeah.
Even Ava herself explicitly said don't tell anybody about this other than the other dandelion. Meanwhile, after you got your ass kicked by Assad, you are passed out and Skuld brought you home into your bedroom to heal up. She talks to Charity about how she's been trying to tell people not to fight in the war. But people don't really believe there's a war coming at all. I said, what kind of weird-ass conspiracy theorist are you, Skuld? Like, just chill down. Get off Twitter, please. Don't use Facebook so much.
And, well, you're just gonna sound like the End is Nigh guy on the corner of the street.
Yeah. So nobody believes her and they just shrug it off. Even though there's like been literal instances of the leaders of the world publicly fighting each other.
That was just a skirmish shit. That's fine.
Really what we learn here is that people are stupid and they deserve to die in the Keyblade.
Yeah.
Master Ava also seems to have disappeared. Charity says that she was always good friends with Master Gula. That's the leopard masked one. So maybe he knows more. Next morning, we should go look for Master Gula, ask him about Master Ava's disappearance and where she can be, and maybe we can try to prevent the war still. The next morning, Charity leads us to a warehouse. Apparently, Gula likes to hang out here. If you remember, in the back cover movie, there were a lot of scenes where they were just kind of hanging out in a warehouse.
Uh-huh.
That's just Gula's place to hang out, apparently.
Alright.
It's kind of weird for one of the leaders of the world to hang out in a warehouse just in town, but sure, why not? Inside the warehouse, we do find Master Gula. He tells us that looking for Ava is pointless. He just guesses that's why we're here, and clever thought, but it's not gonna help. Because it's not like she can actually do anything to stop the war. Like, those things have been set in motion by now, and you're not gonna stop them. The war's gonna happen. Skuld says, even if that's true, they can't just sit back and do nothing while the end of the world is happening. And Gula remarks that he can see why Ava chose Skuld, because she is very much like Ava, apparently. But for all that, nothing will change the fact that the war is coming. Only the Master of Masters would be able to stop that. And as we know...
And he's a sadistic fuck, so he ain't gonna do that.
That, and also he's just simply not around. Like, the entire premise of the conflict that builds in back cover and in the background of this game, as a result, is because the Master just fucking vanished into Tokyo, as we know now. So we're not going to find him, and he says that the only person who could possibly even have a clue as to where the Master might be would be Luciu. But wouldn't you know it, Luciu also went missing.
Yeah.
And Gula reveals that that's likely where Ava went off to, looking for Luciu so she can get help finding the Master. Meanwhile, on a cliff overlooking Daybreak Town, Ava has found Luciu. Apparently just that easy.
Yeah.
Who's just sitting here, chilling, and Ava asks, hey, Luciu, what are you doing? And he's just like, watching. That's what I do. It's my role, just watching. He explains his role to Ava. He wasn't given a book, and he is to watch the end of the world unfold and live into what comes after. He tells her that he can't help her find the Master or avoid the war, that this world is meant to end, and so it will. Ava asks, what does Luciu know? And he reveals that he knows what is on the Lost Page. A page that none of them have in their books of prophecy, but which the Master of Masters inscribed his true intentions on. Ava's like, you don't think you should share that information? That seems like important information to share. You probably should do that.
That could be useful, yeah.
Yeah. Luciu says that keeping that secret is also a part of his role, and the Master doesn't really much care about this world. only that Lucio can fulfill his role and watch the world end. Ava wonders if Lucio is at fault for all of this. Is he the traitor? Because remember, we still don't know who the fuck the traitor is. Lucio gets up and summons his Keyblade. Meanwhile, at the Fountain Square, Strelitzia sat there, waiting for Jens as Charity comes into view, telling it that I spotted him, he's gone into the warehouse. In the warehouse, we are jumping a lot of scenes, because we're still talking to Master Gula, who recites from the lost page of the book. Imbalance observes strength misplaced, a future filled with sorrow. Words of truth misunderstood as they explore the secrets of tomorrow. And everybody in that warehouse is just like, okay?
What?
What are we supposed to do with that? To which I want to point out, I now very much understand why nobody picked out who the traitor could possibly be, or even do anything with the Book of Prophecies, because if it's written like this, it's a fucking useless prophetic book.
Yeah, even the Bible is more clear.
Yeah, and that shit's metaphorical as fuck. So, back to Ava and Lucio, again. Ava just says no to whatever Lucio just told her in the 2 seconds we were watching a different scene. Lucio says that she asked for the truth, and now she has it. Can she accept who the traitor is? She says that can be true, but Lucio says if there is another solution, it will become apparent after the war. He asks if it ever occurred to Ava that the Master didn't really care about the world at all, but rather he cared about how their hearts would guide them. Ava says no, it can't be what the Master wanted. Lucio must be misinterpreting the Master's orders in his own twisted way, and draws her Keyblade too. Back in the warehouse, Skuld asks Master Gula, why are you telling all of this to us? Are you even allowed to tell us this? This seems like highly classified information. And he just admits like, no, I'm not allowed to tell you this, but what? Even if I tell you this, it's not going to change the fact that there's a war literally about to start. It doesn't matter. It's going to happen. Whatever I do, I might as well break the rules, because we're too late.
And one of them is going to die anyway, so because they're not a dandelion yet.
Yeah, so especially us, probably should be really rethinking that decision right about now.
Yeah.
Gula recites the last bit of the lost page, saying that he couldn't find out who the traitor was, and even though he thought he had figured it out, he can't be sure that even that was the right conclusion. The last line on the lost page reads, with a single strike, toll the bells and herald the end, bringing war upon us as fate did intend. Very nice of the Master of Masters to write down the entirety of the future in rhyme and couplet.
That's gonna get annoying real quick.
Yeah. So, we see Ava and Lucio striking at each other. As the bell in the clock tower in Daybreak Town rings out, even we in the warehouse hear it and know time's up. Keyblade War starting.
It's wartime, let's go.
Everybody gonna die!
Whoop.
Skuld is like, oh, Keyblade War time, I'm the fuck out of here because I've got a job to do with the Dandelions. Gents, it's kind of your last chance of joining. Please come with me. And he's like, nah, I don't think I will.
You absolute dumb fuck.
After Skuld leaves, we ask Charity what will happen to it if we die. And Charity doesn't answer, but we already know. Charity will die too. Jen says, knowing that this decision will also impact Charity, he asks what it thinks we should do. Charity says that it doesn't want us to fight. Even though Charity and Wielders aren't really supposed to be friends, as much as like guidee and guidance, whatever. Charity feels like over the years that we've been Keyblade Wielders and we've worked together, there's been some friendship building here, and it just doesn't want us to get hurt.
We're not friends, but we're work buddies.
Yeah, we're not supposed to be friends, but like, I do see you as my friend and I don't want you getting hurt in the war. That's when Nightmare Charity pops up again, saying, oh, we're not taking part in all of the fun. That's not, come on. It says that the Dandelions may sound noble, carrying on the lights into the future for future generations, but really what they're doing is running away. And finally, Jen says, who the fuck even are you? Nightmare says that we'll get to that. Roll credits.
God damn it.
But before that, did you know that the power bangle that we've been using, remember the power bangle that we got that's like
near
the beginning of the game?
That came from Him, right?
It came from a charity, and then the charity disappeared, and another charity walked up. And I was like, huh? What the? Who are you talking to? Were you cheating on me? Because, and this is kind of like why it's plot relevant that all charities look the same, because we just assumed that was our charity giving us the power bangle, but it was this one.
Yeah.
But that power bangle, we assumed, was gathering darkness to turn it into light, because that's part of our job. But really what's been happening is it's been gathering darkness for us to use. We have actively been using the power of darkness this entire time.
Ew.
Anyway, let's get back into the important shits. Because Night Maturity tells us that it was born from our darkness. It belongs to us.
So you have the classic angel devil on the shoulder thingy going on right now.
Literally, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Except they're merchandisable cats. But that's pretty much what's going on here. We've got our normal charity and the Night Maturity. And the Night Maturity says that unlike spirits, we nightmares try to fill our hosts with bad dreams, with nightmares, so we can sever our bond and be independent. So
Dobby wants to be free?
Yeah, Dobby wants to be free by essentially just driving us mad with a nightmare.
Cool.
So he summons a couple of Darklings to fight us. And after we beat those Darklings, he absorbs them into himself and becomes an actual fucking nightmare.
Oh, shit.
So we beat this one up as well. And luckily for us, somewhere in this whole scene, apparently we were filled with enough nightmares and fear and whatever to sever the bond to Nightmare Charity, so when we kill it, we don't die. And at this point, I want to just pause this entire episode for a moment and award the Oscar for the most useless fucking subplot in the entirety of this series. Because this charity shows up, is mysterious, says, oh, I belong to someone, and that might be the traitor. And it turns out to be ours and just dies. And it's not the traitors at all. It is it's the linchpin at which the foretellers start distrusting each other because this thing is around. This is fucking written by J.J. Abrams, I'm telling you. I hate this.
Yeah.
Anyway, that aside.
So after this point, it's just done.
He's just...
That's it for this character.
Kind of. He says, I'll see you in another dream, as he fades away. But we never see him again. So, no. He just... that's it. That's it.
So the whole thing is he gives us the power bangle, and then that makes him stronger, more darkness, and then...
In doing so, there's more... He gives all of the wielders a power bangle, I should point out. Like, everybody has one of these.
Right.
Because he can just impersonate everybody's charity, because they look the same. That's
right.
Before he turned fucking purple. But when he turned purple, one of the masters found him and showed it to the other master, like, okay, shit's been going down. This is a Nightmare Charity. That's not good. That indicates a Dark Wielder. That's an indication of a traitor. And that seed of there being potentially a traitor is why everybody distrusts each other and why there's a Keyblade War about to happen. Because this character existed. And that's the only reason for this character to exist. Because it literally, like, there's no resolution to this. It's just, we need to wrap this up before the finale of the game. And we didn't really plan this out.
Yeah, that fucking sucks.
Yeah, no, I am very upset with this to this day. Anyway, after this, let's go back into some more impactful stuff. Because Strelitzia is still looking for us. She heard that we were in the warehouse, so she walks into the warehouse like, I finally got the courage, I'm going to talk to my crush, and I'm going to convince them to not go into a war and just die, essentially, yes. So she calls out, walking deeper into the warehouse, like, hello, anybody there? Yeah. I heard there's somebody supposed to be in here. And the charity's like, oh, fuck. I guess they left. Maybe bad info? I don't know. Let's keep looking. So they decide to keep looking elsewhere. When suddenly, the screen just cuts to black. When we fade back into the scene, Strelitzia and Charity are laying on the ground. And someone takes the rulebook into the shadowy darkness on the left of the screen. As she tries to stumble out the door, slowly dying, she flashes back to the memories of meeting or observing us, wishing she had built up the courage earlier to talk to him before she falls down to the floor dead. So she shows up as somebody who's apparently been stalking us for quite a while, she gets given a rulebook and the responsibility of being a leader in the new world. And then she gets murdered, and somebody takes that rulebook and presumably takes that spot as one of the new leaders.
So basically, she just cannon fodder for someone else to get the rulebook who isn't supposed to.
Yes.
Well, that's fucked up.
She's a sacrifice. She is also, before you just remove her from your brain because she's just a placeholder for like somebody dark to come into the story. She is that, but she's also like actually relevant. So do remember her. She does die, but her as a character is relevant going forward in multiple different ways.
All right, then. I'll try to remember this non-consequential girl.
Yeah.
I'll try my best.
After the second part of this game, you'll probably be able to remember her a bit better because her dying is a pretty big motivator for one of the characters that we're going to be meeting in the next part.
All right.
Anyway, a few days later, after Strelitzia's died, millions of Keyblade wielders gather in a familiar-looking place. And this is where it starts. All of the Keyblade wielders start fighting each other, and we're in the middle of the Keyblade War. We didn't join the Dandelions, we're on the battlefields, and we actually fight all of the masters, except our own, of course. Like, there's 5 Union leaders, we fight 4 out of 5 of them, back to back.
Right.
And this is where you start doing like 10 to 20 million damage, apparently. It's insane. As the fight goes on, more and more Keyblades embed themselves into the ground as you're fighting. And at the end of it all, we're left laying in the crossroads of destiny. The Keyblade graveyard. Slowly dying. But as we are dying, a light shines down from the sky. Don't go towards the light. And Skull appears in a very pixelated screenshot. This is not even my internet connection. Just whenever we get a close-up of a character, the characters just didn't have the resolution. So it just zoom in a lot. It's a very cheap mobile game. But Skull appears as we are dying, along with Afamo, who Jen says to, you broke your promise of coming to see me that day. You're late. And Afamo responds to, I'm here now, reaching out his hand to us as the screen fades to white.
Shut the fuck, you're about to die and we're here to rescue you.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up with your cheeky remarks.
Well, it's kind of like
it's a poetic thing. It's
a poetic thing, and it's also kind of like the thing Deadpool 2 makes fun of.
Yeah.
When Wade is dying, like, I want my last line to be something like impactful and cool, but I'm just like not dying. Fuck. It's kind of that trope, right?
Yeah.
So he reaches out his hand to us. We grab it, and the screen fades to white, and that's the end of Kingdom Hearts Key. We dead, son.
Yep.
Seemingly. Except you know there's a second part to this, so no.
Yeah. I'm just still processing the fact that we had a everybody is dead war just because one cuddly figure was fucking around.
Well, in reality, what happened is we have everybody is dead except like maybe a few hundred people who are the Dandelions. But everybody other than that is dead. Not so much maybe because the Dark Charity was fucking around, but more so because the Master of Masters is a huge dick and very much set this up. Because
this is a somehow even more cruel version of Noah's Ark.
Yes.
That's fucked up.
Very much. But this is not quite the end, because we have a post-credit scene. Even on our fucking mobile games, we have post-credit scenes.
Yeah, for fuck's sake.
Of course we do. Post-credit scene called Unchained Zero. Maleficent shows up on a bridge.
Oh, we haven't seen her around.
Saying that it seems to have actually worked. And Sora and those other buffoons can't follow us here.
Oh, right, because she went back in time or something or other.
So, remember how Kingdom Hearts time travel works roughly? Probably not.
Kind of.
When your heart is set free from your body, you can travel freely through time to another place and time where a version of you exists.
Mm-hmm.
Maleficent's heart was released from her body in Kingdom Hearts 1 when Riku stabbed her with the Keyblade made of the 7 Princesses of Hearts.
Right.
So after that happened and you beat her up as a dragon, her heart was freed from her body and she could travel back to all the way the fuck to this, to the projection world from the Book of Prophecies that the Master of Masters created.
Because she's a Disney character and they just are eternal?
No, because the
Sorry.
the projections of those worlds are based on the Book of Prophecies, which is the event of the future. So Maleficent is in the Book of Prophecies, hence
Right.
she exists in the projection hologram worlds. Hence she can time travel back into that hologram world, which makes a real self-fulfilling prophecy. Yes, I know.
Yeah.
But this is not like a ancient version of Maleficent. This is specifically the version of Maleficent between Kingdom Hearts 1 and Kingdom Hearts 2. So after Kingdom Hearts 1, she time travels back into the far-flung past, which, again, potentially millions of years ago. And eventually she's going to make her way back into like the main events, which will be how she eventually returns in the start of Kingdom Hearts 2.
She travels back to a projection of a prophecy.
Of her,
she,
yes.
so she can come back to the real world a few million years later, somehow, sort of, still looking for a house.
It'll be a little bit more explained what is going on with Maleficent in the next part. Like, this is the secret ending of Kingdom Hearts Key, which is a tease for Kingdom Hearts Union Cross, which is technically a different game, but also kind of just the continuation of what happens here because it's tomorrow game. And it will go a little bit more in depth there. I'm just explaining on like a surface level right now is what happened in Kingdom Hearts 1. She time traveled back in time, and assumedly what she's trying to do is go back in time and prevent herself from losing to Sora. But she accidentally went back to this version of her old world instead of like the birth by sleep era version of this world.
Well, give or take like a million years.
It's
Who cares?
easy mistake to make, right? Like 10 years ago,
Yeah.
10 million years ago, it sounds alike.
I just hit the 6 times too many.
Yeah, Time Machine was just a little wonky. I went a couple miles per hour too quick, and it just
Yeah.
didn't work.
Anyway, very cute character model, by the way.
Yeah, much like a lot of the Disney, like we skipped over all of the Disney stuff here, more or less, other than a couple of scenes which were like character themed relevant. All of the Disney stuff looks actually quite good in this art style, and that's like we talked about this last time, I believe. The game's aged pretty well for something that started in like 2014 or something like that. Because of this art style. This art style works fairly well, like on a browser game initially, and then a mobile game, and whatever.
It's just easy, like cell shading stuff. It looks fine either way, whether you render it in like 480p or 4K.
Yeah. The only thing that I will admit is you've been seeing screenshots. The animation for this is actually horrendous because it is very clearly obviously they didn't animate the sprites with like different sprites, different frames for actual animation. It's all puppet animation.
Oh.
And 2D puppet animation has a tendency to look very cheap and very bad very quickly, and this game definitely falls within that category.
Well, that sucks. Maybe what you're gonna do?
Like it's actually just very bad flash animation is what it is. Again, it's the art style was very much chosen to be cheap to produce, and that it is.
She's just looking like oh, you're evil. Oh, that's you.
Exactly.
You're the evil witch. Oh, you.
It all does look very cute, and it's kind of weird because this is the game where literally millions of children die.
Yeah.
And it gets darker in the next part.
Ew.
So it's a little bit of a contrast between the subject matter and the visual presentation.
Well, looking forward to that.
Yeah, this was honestly, like, I keep saying Union Cross is one of my favorite stories in Kingdom Hearts. All of this, for the most part, doesn't really count. Because this is just prelude, this is the original game, and then the quote-unquote sequel, the mobile version, goes into the actual good part of the story. And that's what we'll be covering next time. That cutscene compilation is also even longer, so wish me fucking luck.
Yay.
For now, any thoughts, any questions, any complaints?
I still think the whole Keyblade War, after all the build-up it has had through the previous games, just knowing that it's basically I don't trust you, I don't trust you. I don't trust you. Let's all fight to the death, all right?
That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
To be fair, though, from the very first time that we heard about it, even before we knew that it was like a Keyblade War, like the story we heard about it was people want all the light for themselves and they started to fight over that. And that's kind of what's going on here, because the reason that they don't trust each other is like, oh, you're collecting light at like a very rapid pace. Maybe I should be doing that too, just so you don't get ahead. And then everybody else is like, hey, those two are really going at it collecting light. Maybe we should be doing that too, because otherwise they get ahead. And that kind of just creates a feedback loop.
Basically, everybody dies because of late stage capitalism. Yoo-hoo!
Well, it's more of a nuclear arm race is really what it is. It's a light arm race.
Yeah.
Which you could argue is connected to late stage capitalism, but let's not get going all the way there. I hope that at some point we get like a console remake of this game, so we can actually like fight in a full-scale brutal Keyblade War, because like having these 2D sprites with puppet animation swinging around doesn't do it justice to how horrific it's supposed to be, which kind of undermines the whole point of the master saying, yeah, we're going to wipe everybody's mind after it because it's going to be so horrific, and then we see it and it's like, yeah, I don't know, man. It's a bunch of puppets swinging like very bad looking sprites around. Doesn't seem that horrific to me. And with that, I think we pretty much have covered it all. Today was a little bit shorter than other episodes, which is good for us because it's... the
last few ones were long enough.
Yeah, the last few ones were long enough. Next one is going to probably be a little bit longer than this one as well, because the cutscene compilation for it is quite a bit longer, and there's like a lot more actually relevant stuff that happens there.
All right, well, let's not do that one after I'm hungover then.
All that you need to remember from today. So, if you watch all the way through, fuck you, because I'm going to recap this in like 2 seconds. Sora is in Tokyo. Master of Masters in Tokyo. Yuzora is in Tokyo.
All the kids are dead.
There's a player character. Everybody is fucking dead. There's going to be new union leaders in the next part. Strelitzia fucking died. And that's it.
Right.
So that's what you need to remember. And everything else was a fucking waste of time. Don't you feel good about yourself now? Thanks for the watch time. See you next month.
Thanks for ruining my mindfulness walk. My mind is fucked again.
You're welcome.
Bye.